So this is just the start of me trying to create some sort of pricing scheme for apps for bookkeepers that want to integrate these apps to QuickBooks Online or Sage 1, for example. Just ignore this over here. This is me playing around with different banding, whether it's going to be banding from source documents or banding if you're just doing bookkeeping from bank and credit card statements only, depending on client behaviors. And actually, if I quickly go over it, basically I've said, hey, if you're coding from source documents, here's the price. If you're coding from bank and credit card statements only, it's 2/3 of that price. So I've done that based on taking a look at a client, understanding what their costs were based on currently by just doing all their data entry from the bank and credit card statements, and they would be what I would call an annual bookkeeping client. Like they just come in once a month with gobs of paper and like 2,000 checks. Like it's a bit ridiculous. And so we're reconstructing a pricing scheme based on what they would, what we would charge them normally, and we've marked it up a little bit. Actually, in this particular example, I think they're paying roughly $500 a month, and they're doing roughly 600 transactions. That's the AR and AP side, and it probably does not include reconciliations as a transaction, which it should. Anyways, this is getting to what I was sort of trying to figure out is coming out with a way to justify putting in integrating apps into a company's basically workflow. So the one example I used in the discussion with Mark was that we have a client, and they currently put a calendar on a whiteboard of all the days and the staff come in and put their hours in that they spend each day on a whiteboard. Excuse me. That gets transferred to an Excel spreadsheet. The Excel spreadsheet gets approved by a manager. Someone then takes that data and then manually enters it into ADP. ADP then pays everyone electronically, and then the PDF reports are generated, and then that has to be put into actually two different accounting databases because they have two different accounting databases. We've convinced them to consolidate into one, but we then had to create, I forget the term, when you're going to put mirrored transactions in each database. Hopefully it comes to me by the end of this video. Anyways, they were spending roughly 20 hours a month doing this, and so really their soft cost was $600 a month. So, as we discussed on Thursday, I would include this as in the premium version, right? So their soft cost is roughly $600. I think what I'd probably do is I'd somehow figure out a way for the software to say, hey, you know what, we're going to include T-sheets. We're going to include QuickBooks Payroll Online, and then you'll be saving yourself 20 hours per month of time, but it's only going to cost you $400 or something along those lines, and that'd be the premium version of the payroll. So the other example I used is a lot of times point of sale software doesn't communicate properly with the accounting system. So people have to manually, well, actually I'll use this same client. This client actually uses cash registers. They use Z tapes, and so they manually enter data from the Z tapes into a spreadsheet, and from there they actually create monthly journal entries into the accounting system, which doesn't do you any good for seasonal fluctuations or just to spot trends by days, like is it busier on Saturday and Sunday than Monday to Friday type thing. So we said, well, they spend roughly 7.5 hours per month. So I just sort of ballparked at 15 minutes per day. They have 2 stores. I should probably double that. That'd be per store. 15 minutes per day would be pretty fast. So I should probably double this. It should probably be $450 a month. So I've even talked to them about supplying the hardware, which would be a tablet-based POS like Revel that integrates with QuickBooks Online, and then charging them. So if it's 2 stores, I'd charge them, say, $450 a month. I'd include the hardware, I'd include the subscription for the POS software, and I'd have to make sure that all makes sense. But I'm going to guess I'd probably come out $300 a month by providing all this. And then I'd bundle in training, and we do videos, so I bundle in training videos for all the staff, training videos for them, plus if there's any upgrades to the software, we do videos about that and push it out to the staff. And if the staff have any questions or have any requirements for customizations, well, customizations we couldn't do without charging, but any sort of hand holding we certainly could, which I think has a value. So again, I need to somehow translate, let me just, it's going to multiply by 2 because these guys actually have 2 stores. I need to translate that into the Marks module, which I forget what it was called now. Oops. Translate that in there so that if we migrate them to a POS system, maybe we might have an upfront cost for doing the conversion and then a monthly cost for maintaining that, as well as providing training, whatever it might be. So this is what I call my defensible logic, just to come up with some numbers. Now I need to go back into Mark software and sort of reverse engineer the software so I can come up with some ballpark formulas that comes close to this, and I'll figure it out. My next step is to play around with Mark software to figure out how I can do that. All right, thanks you guys.